Hi, and welcome to Pianospun Yarns. This is the first YouTube channel. Nope. This is my first video on this YouTube channel that I created a while ago, but just never felt comfortable enough to upload anything. So now I'm going to do my advent calendar for the year here instead of on Instagram. And look what arrived today. I have not opened this yet. This is World of Wool's advent calendar for this year. It is 24 packages of 50 grams each of all different wool blends. And this year their theme is Around the World of Wool. I haven't opened it. So we're gonna see this for the first time together. They did another magnetic closure, which is really nice. And this year, all the wool blends came in their own little bags, and they're labeled each year, or each day. They're labeled each day. This one also, they also happen to say right on the package, I don't want to give too much away, what is in each blend each day. So it's right on the bag, and each one has a name. I think they're probably cities. I don't know. I will be looking them up and explaining them each day during Advent this year. That's one of the great things about the way that I've chosen to do Advent this year, is that I'll have time to research and really understand everything about the wool that I'm pulling that day. I'm so excited for this year's World of Wool Advent Calendar and for what I have planned for this year. Last year, you may have followed me on Instagram where I did live spinning every day. I was really focused on spinning techniques, and I tried to expand my own spinning knowledge, and I was working through the Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs. I learned some great things. I hope I shared some new information with spinners and non-spinners alike, and overall I was thrilled with how it turned out. My goals last year were to spin and share every day, and I really challenged myself to make that happen. Unfortunately, a lot of that yarn ended up going unused because a lot of it was art yarn or just different techniques, and some of it was ruined due to a washing disaster. Last year, I was focused on process over product. And this year, I'm going into World of Wool Advent project focused. I've done a lot of planning and prep work to make this happen. So I'm going to share my plan for the rest of the month. The end goal is to have a cardigan by Christmas, or it might be more of a coat by the time it's finished. I needed a top-down pattern so that it can be as long as I want, and I knew I wanted color work, so this will also be my first steeked project. I used the free Saga cardigan pattern as a starting point for this project. This version, done by 3 Bags Full on Ravelry, is a good representation of how I think the finished project may look, although I am planning on adding decreases along the waistline and increases along the bottom for more of an A-line shaped coat. I was really hoping to get the Holiday Doodle card deck from Pacific Knit Co., but I missed them at Rhinebeck and they were sold out online. Instead, I purchased the doodle charts for the Holiday, Winter Skies, and Arctic Doodle expansions. I cut them out into little strips, picked 24 of my favorites, and had my partner mix them up and place them into 24 marked envelopes, which I can't find. He was nice enough to fold them all together and put them in order for me. So each day, in addition to pulling a new wool, I'll also be opening an envelope with a colorwork chart and knitting the next section of the coat with that chart and the yarn spun that day. All the yarn spun for this project will be a 3-ply sport-ish weight. Most will probably be spun as a chain ply because that's my go-to, but some might be spun as a traditional or fractal 3-ply if I think there's some really cool color combos. To get this project ready to go, I've done some knitting already, and this is what it looks like so far. I've tried to think of any snags that I might hit in this project and iron them out right away. I did the yoke beforehand because I wanted to be able to choose the charts that put the increases exactly where they needed to be. I had to make some slight adjustments in order to make the body and sleeves in multiples of 24, but honestly not many. Because the cardigan is based off a colorwork cardigan already, and that also happens to have charts in multiples of 12, it fit really nicely into the doodle charts, which are all multiples of 24. The body is multiples of 24 minus 1, because I found that that makes the colorwork charts fit really evenly in the middle, and the sleeves are 72 each. I made the decision that the only commercial yarn used in the coat will be for the collar and the edging. I honestly don't remember the fiber of this yarn, but it was a sample skein from World of Wool, and I dyed it gray with acid dyes. Every other yarn in the yoke was from my hand spun stash. Some of it was from the previous calendar, some of it was spun from mill ends that I've got in the past, and some, like this white and this gray, is wool that I've spun from fleece. My dream is that each day I can use the new yarn spun for that day and the color from the previous day, but I know the colors won't always work like that. Eventually, I'll be using yarns only from the calendar in the coat, but I have made myself a small stash to work with until I know I can make that happen. The first few days, even a week maybe, I won't get a lot of colors that look good in color work together. Like I might get a lot of white a couple days in a row. That happened last year. So I wanted to go in having some colors. I've got this kind of like green, gold with sparkles in it, super soft red, and some plain white, just in case I don't get any of the colors that look good together in the first few days. So I wanted to be prepared with hand spun that's ready to go, just in case none of the colors that I get for the first few days work out. I want to take a second and shout out my favorite colorwork needles. These are the Addy novels, or the Addy squares. I think they're novels in the UK and squares in the US. These are pretty controversial. They have a square and ribbed design that makes them ergonomic to hold, but my favorite thing about them is that the ribbing keeps your color work sitting nicely on the needles. I find that they make it effortless to make sure that your floats are evenly spaced. They're so easy to work with. They are my favorite colorwork needles. So if you wanted to give them a try, or maybe you've never heard of them, I would suggest giving them a try because I love them. They are not everyone's favorite. They are not everyone's cup of tea. But for me, they are the best for working colorwork. I use them to work colorwork socks too. The last big change from last year's spin along is that I'm not going live this year. In order to show every step of the day and do enough research to talk about the wool the way I'd like, videos will be pre-recorded and uploaded to YouTube daily. So I'll technically be a little bit ahead of the advent, but it'll all be worth it if I have a finished coat by Christmas. So that's the plan for this year. If you have any questions or words of encouragement, please leave them in the comments. I'm definitely gonna need the words of encouragement because I made this a lot of work for myself. But I was really surprised by how joyful the World of Wool Advent made me last year, and I felt like stepping it up this year. I hope you'll join me on this journey. I'll still be posting progress pics on Instagram of the coat so far and all the yarns if you want to see them there. But you can come back here every day in December and see the progress in action. I'll see you December 1st. I'm gonna move my scripts underneath my camera. I don't know how to YouTube. I'm gonna go grab the things, my props.